Hi everybody! Today we're going to see how I draw WASP. Okay, pencils first and then Sharpies. So if you don't want to watch the pencil portion of the video where I sketch the entire thing out, look in the description and you'll find a link that you can click on that will take you to the Sharpie portion of the video. I'll even include one for color. But for those of you that are going to stick around, I'm going to start off with a quick sketch for myself and get us going. Alright, how you doing today? You doing good? Are you having a good day so far? I hope so. Because everybody should be having a good day, right? Especially if you're here drawing. You're excited for the day and for the drawing and for the cool stuff we're going to do, right? Alright, so here we go. So let's see. You know what? I need this pose. I need this line first. That's what I need. I need to guide us like that. Then I can guide her out. That's the flow. That's what it is. So it helps to, know your anatomy and all that stuff, but it also helps to, find your flow, your chi, Oof. Okay, I'm gonna get on my soapbox, my tangent, my complaints. One thing I will never understand. I mean, I understand why they're doing it. I don't get why they're still doing it. But giving any kind of female Marvel superhero heels. Why? Why? I think I've complained about this in other videos before. That, I mean, I get it. I know why they're doing it because, no offense, but they're men that draw this stuff and they design them with heels. It's an old-fashioned, I hate to sound like an old man complaining about stuff like this, but it's the way things used to be done, and it's how men perceive women, drawing them with heels and pretty and all that stuff. I get it, it's just habit, but now that we're working into this is more of a real feel, this is how it would be if this was a real costume. Why are we still giving them heels and they have to fight and jump around and do dangerous stuff in heels? It doesn't make any sense. It's silly. Like I said, I get it. I know why they're doing it. I wish they'd stop. It's just not real if they're going for real, But, maybe that's what the women like. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just, the wrong person here. And I'll accept that. It's just not my thing, I guess is what it is. So, there. Done. Off my soapbox. So yeah, so what I'm going for here is a flying pose. And I gotta make sure I stay on camera, too. Not too high. Perfect. And I gotta figure out her mask. Because yeah, I love the flying pose and it's awesome, but I just gotta make sure that I get it right. And make sure I get the mask detail right. And I just did Ant-Man too, so I'm kind of going through the same thing I had with him, that there's a lot of cool detail in these costumes and I don't want to miss any. But I don't have time to draw every single detail, so I gotta try to you gotta pick your battles is what they say. The common phrase is, you gotta pick your battles of what you want to do, what you're gonna keep, and where you're gonna go. Am I gonna put her eyes in here? I should, right? There's another gotta pick your battle. Do I put in the eyes? I guess I will, because they're going to be all colored in anyway. But there's the downside is, I talk about this with other tutorials, that Sharpies are very defining. That you put it down, it's there, it's going to stay. So I'm often deciding what I'm going to do, color versus Sharpie, and if you put it down in Sharpie, it's defined, it's there, So that's why I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do it with Sharpie or just stick with doing it in color, you know? I think I'm good. You know what? Let me add some of this detail for the center, because this is a very important detail, and I liked it in the Ant-Man one too. That's why I made sure I wanted to put it in. The look of the bug in her in her chest on that design, it's awesome. It's really cool, and that's one thing I do appreciate for their design. All the way the creators made these is the way they added in the look of a bug. I said it looks like an ant on Ant-Man, so I might as well say hers looks like a wasp. But it's more buggish. I couldn't say that's a wasp. I could just say that looks like a bug. But that's something I just want to make sure I get that detail in. And then the rest we can just kind of make up with Sharpie detail. We don't have to draw all that in. Okay, I think that's enough detail that I can get going. And like I said, take care of the rest with Sharpie. Right? Because I need a basic idea here to guide me, and then I can add the detail with Sharpie. Oh, you know what? Duh. Let me add the wings. I was just talking about that I'm going to do wings, and then I stopped and said, ooh, make sure they're in the right spot, and then I stopped drawing them. Old man forgetting stuff. Okay. That's a good flow. That's a good flow. Boy, I love this costume. I'll tell you what. This was one of my most favorite ones. Just something about the whole design and the look. Woo! Amazing. Amazing. Let me tell you. All right. Okay, I think I'm good. Again, just let me double check that we're still on screen. Okay, good. Because I ended up, now that I look at it, there's a lot of space down here that I could have dropped it down, but yeah, that's what happens, you know? Okay, so I think I'm going to switch over. I'm going to welcome everybody that skipped to the drawing, the Sharpie portion, but I do need to erase some of these darker lines. Like, I just need the guide, because I don't want the pencil lines to stand out. I want the Sharpie to stand out. So I just need something just to guide me with my original sketch. And not make the whole thing disappear. I'm kind of erasing a lot here, so I gotta be careful. Didn't mean for that much to disappear. Okay. That's looking good. And if you're working with pencil, if you're drawing along too, you just draw darker. Just start pressing a little harder, you know? You don't have to worry about erasing. Alright, looks good, looks great. I'm going to move forward. So, welcome skippers, welcome to the Sharpie portion of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because I do a drawing every single day. Not necessarily Marvel, but it's something fun you can join along with and draw with me every day. I'm going to be using a Sharpie fine point and a Sharpie pen, mostly the fine point, but the pen's a little finer than the fine point and can find the things that the fine point can't quite find. So, I've drawn the entire thing. Now I have a nice little tiny sketch to work with to guide me with my Sharpie drawings. I'm going to be using a Sharpie pen first to draw the fine little tiny details, and then we'll get bigger with the Sharpie point. So I'm going to go ahead and draw her eyes. I was talking about this in a sketch. I couldn't decide whether I was going to do it or not, but I think I am. I'm going to draw her eyes, and then they'll be colored in and kind of disappear a little bit. So I'm going to start with the top of the lids like this, just to see if I've got them in the right angle, and I do. Her head's kind of tilted back like this, so I just want to make sure I've got them where I want them. So I'm going to draw the pupil, the color part, around like that, just a little tiny, around like that. See if I've got them in the same spot. Yeah, looks good to me. Now for the I'm sorry, that's the retina, right? The color part's the retina. For the pupil, all I can really do is add a little bit of dot, because these Sharpies are so tiny that I can't really get in there and do a lot of detail. But for what we can do at Sharpie, it's nice and defining, so it'll give me a good point. Now, I can't draw the underside of the eye because it'll start to bleed. If you want to and your pen's sharp enough or your pencil's sharp enough, go for it. But with my Sharpies here, it's going to bleed a little bit. So I'm just going to give her a little bit of a makeup cat eye, just like this, just to show that it's a nice pretty eye. But I got to be careful because, like I said, it's going to bleed, so I can only do so many lines. Come back in like this, apply the bottom of the eye like that, you know, draw the little edge, and again, draw a little bit of a little cat eye makeup. That's all I can really do. And that's good enough for the eye. I don't want to go crazy. I want to round this one off a little bit. I mean, I want to draw more, but like I said, it's going to bleed, and that's enough for the eyes because I don't need that to stand out. I just need them to be there, okay? So for the mask, this is hard because I can't turn like you normally draw your paper. I just have to kind of go with, it's taped down. I have to go with where it is. So I'm going to come down to a point like this for the outside of the mask, and kind of follow the design of it. Now, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay, but I am going to try to get it as good as I can to try to follow the look of the mask. Just because I like it. It's really, I was talking about in the sketch, this is one of my favorite costumes. This one's really awesome. Okay, I'm going to come down here like this, a little shorter on this side because you can only see so much of it. And come back up, go ahead and touch those. And I'm not, did you see what I did there? I'm not restricted by the edge of the line. I wasn't drawing all the way up to it. I drew where it felt right and then reconnected that line. So if you're drawing to it and it feels time to stop, then stop and then reconnect the other one. Don't limit yourself by what you've already done. Don't limit yourself by your past. You should live your life like that too, you know? Don't limit yourself by what your past dictates, all right? Here's some life affirmation from how I draw. I'm gonna give her some eyebrows too, because I realized I didn't draw those in, and you can barely see them, but it'll make it work a little bit more to look like a real face, you know? We'll go ahead and draw a little bit of a bridge with the nose too, like that, but that's it. I'm not gonna go anymore because anymore, and I'm gonna start to have to draw every single detail, and I don't want to do that. I just want to stick with the details of the mask. So I'm gonna draw the little circular hose, not hose, why do I call it that? The like ventilator mouthpiece, I guess is what it is. Like this, just to give me some start-stop points of where I want to go with this. Now, there's a lot of detail in the mask and all the costume, but we're not going to do all that. I'm just kind of limiting myself with certain points, and color will take care of the rest. But I'm just telling you right now, there's only so much I'm going to put in here, okay? So I'm going to come in like this. And you know what? I'm going to use this because my hand's a little sweaty. I don't want to sweat all over the paper. So ignore this, but it's just to keep me from sweating on it and rippling up the paper. So yeah, so I'm going to play around with some of the detail here, but not all of it, just some, just to give me some edges. And then, like I said, I'll do more color stuff later and take it from there. I mean, to a point, it's almost too much detail. You know, you can't draw every single point in here. You can, but you know, I'm trying not to make this a 3-hour-long video. I'm trying to make it just enough where you can draw with me and have some fun. Okay, so we'll say this comes around like this, closes off this way, and that'll be the edge. Okay. And again, I want to do a lot of detail in there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do that with color. I'm going to thicken up these edges a little bit too, because when I switch over to this Sharpie, it's going to change. You know what? I'm going to come down a little bit more for this side, just because, like I said, you can see more over here than you can over there, and it'll give me a better edge for the mask too. Okay, so I'm going to start to add like her little ears here. And again, I'm just kind of making it up, so don't worry if you don't draw exactly what I draw. Remember, this is how I draw. You draw how you draw, and we'll meet somewhere in between. And this will help me to just kind of add a little bit of tech, you know, a little bit of science. Okay, so there's that edge. I'm gonna draw this other edge over here and build off of that. And because our head's turned, you can only see so much of this side. So I'm kind of getting away with only drawing certain points. And I know I'm just kind of floating these, but again, I'm going by my sketch, so this is all planned out. So I'm not just randomly throwing lines down. I kind of designed it this way. All right, let's see. So again, I'm just going to draw what I see or draw what I sketched. And then I'll come back with the big Sharpie in a bit. There we go. And because I'm coming back with the big Sharpie, I'm going to start to thicken this line, like I said, to match what's about to happen. Very Kirby-esque. I feel like Jack Kirby with this. I don't know why. I think because of the thickness. I didn't mean to go that thick, but do you know Jack Kirby? Oh, man. That man, Stan Lee gets all the credit, but I'm telling you, Jack Kirby is why it is what it is. I'm just going to say that, you know. Okay, Stan Lee, thank you very much for the stories and whatnot, but design, kind of like Ralph McQuarrie. You know, everybody says George Lucas, but you know what? Ralph McQuarrie, he's the one that designed Star Wars. He's the one who is making it what it is. But you know what? I digress. I'm going to get off my soapbox there and get back to this drawing. Okay, I'm switching over now. There is more detail in the mask, but I don't want to do that with this. I want to do it with color, and that way we can make it subtle and stand out. All right, so let's go ahead and draw her neck down like this. And see how thick this is? That's what I was saying. I want to match what was about to happen. Okay, and I'll come back and add some finer detail for the wasp face on her outfit, but I just want to give myself some edges to work with here. So I'm going to come down, let's see, draw a little point like that for like almost like the harness that's holding on her wings, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw the shoulders, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the shoulder pads just to make them stand out, you know. And that's what I'm saying. Sharpie's very defining. What you're deciding to highlight or showcase with this Sharpie, that's going to be there. That's very defined and very loud, you know? Where this is loud, this is a whisper. So we're going to make them work together. So let me draw this edge, and then we'll come back and do that face. So I'm going to draw her arm edge right there. Then I'm going to have to draw some of the face of the costume here. And then we'll come back with subtle detail in a second. Like this. And we'll draw this edge. So again, I'll show you well, no, I guess we can do it now. We can do it now. So let me switch over to this tiny Sharpie again. And this is more like my highlight Sharpie is what I call this, because I can draw subtle, more tinier lines. And like I said, it's more of a whisper, you know? And it's a nice complement to each other, thick versus thin. So it's a good design how they did this with, you know, her breasts are basically the eyes, so it kind of helps to draw like, you know, like a shielding for her breasts, you know. Not that they need them, you know, but it's a good excuse to give armor in well protected places. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to draw the other side real quick, and we'll come back and define a few things. This. And this point, I kind of wrinkled up because I'm having her leg bent right there, so I kind of wrinkled it on purpose. So see what I'm saying? Like, if you use a thinner Sharpie like this, it's more of a subtle complement to the thick lines. And it just, like I said, it's a nice contrast. There's some inking techniques for you. Let's see. It looks like there's supposed to be 3. I did it too long. No, we can still fit 3. We can still fit 3. And if you notice, on this side, I'm kind of making them disappear because they are on the side of the body that we can't see as well. All right. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to do for that. I'll come back in and add a little extra detail there, but there's only so much detail we're going to put in here with the Sharpie, because like I said, I want to draw a bunch. I want to draw a whole bunch of detail, but I can't, or I shouldn't. We don't have time for that. That's what I'm trying to say. And let's see, I'm going to put some of them in here because there are some nice highlights that I really like. All right. Like I said, I want to do more. We'll do one more. We'll do one more. All right. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. I'm going to switch back over to the Sharpie because we got to get going, right? Okay, so let's do this arm since we have definite, defined start-stop points. So I'm going to do her shoulder pad like I did there. Come in like that. Then I'm going to draw her arm, and I've got basically her hands just out, almost in like a Superman pose, but down. So just out, you know, kind of like wings themselves, you know. So I'm basically just going to just draw material, because that's the nice thing about her suit. Same thing about Ant-Man, is that they're basically like motorcycle suits. You know, they're just material. They're not super crazy designs. They're like leather, you know. Let's see. Now there's more on this side, so we'll go ahead and do this just to highlight the design of it. And then there's like a little what do you call it? Detail to her wrist, communicator type thing. That we can add a little science, a little tech, just to make it stand out. But like I said, this is pretty much just material, so we can add cloth bends. Creases and folds is what I like to say. I love my creases and folds because it gives it a little bit extra, you know, it makes it look like it's bent. In her hands, I'm pretty much just doing like that on both sides, so they're just going to be flat hands. So we're going to do the top of the hand down like this, the meat of the thumb like that, and draw the thumb. And that's all we can really do. And so now, just drawing a finger, and then that's pretty much it, because they're wrapped around themselves, so you can't really see anything else. So that's kind of the nice thing, is we're saving a little bit of time and just creating like that. There we go. But see, it still gives the impression of the hand out. So perfect, right? Okay, let's do this one here. So we're going to do the same thing. There's a little bit of a detail up on top. We're going to kind of come in and do one of these. And this part was wrapped around, so we couldn't really see it. So that's why it's a little more hidden on that side. There's an elbow piece like that. And then we're going to draw pretty much like we did over here. We're going to draw the... see, her wrist is about right there, and I do want to draw this first because there is like a little metal piece that connects it. So then I could just draw her forearm to it like that, and then draw the other side like that, basically. And again, I can just add a little bit of extra detail because of the tech look to it. You know, the science, I guess is what I keep saying, of the outfit. But also, like I said, it's a motorcycle suit, so it's a bent cloth. Ooh, I'm just losing my words. I'm just excited. I like drawing this, and I'm trying to keep on the clock so I don't waste too much time here. But it's looking really good, and I love it, love it. Okay, so same thing, we're gonna draw the hand just like we did there. We're just gonna draw the top of the hand coming in, bottom of the hand, drawing the thumb, like that. Draw the finger that we can see. Draw maybe another middle finger sticking out a little bit further, because that one's thicker, not thicker, but further out in the hand. And then now I'm just gonna come in and add a little bit of the detail. So the top part of the little, like, glove protector, I guess. like that. Just a little bit of like, you know, there's bends in it, you know, and there, like that. Cool. There we go. So now we're just going to draw her suit down, and then we'll come back for the wings. And there's pretty much just like we're doing here, just some tech is all it really is. So lines, and then but the outline of the body. So we're drawing anatomy like this. There's her ribs to her waist. We're going to draw her butt cheek out like that, because that's where her leg's going to start, but that's her backside. You can see it more on this side than this one. And then let's start back over here so you can see where we're going there, and draw this leg bent. So this one's just going to do like this to the knee pad, kind of like that. And then let's see, her middle's going to be like this, and the back leg is going to come in this way. A little bit bent because, like I said, it's material. Cloth, you know, we can make those bends. Then just kind of come down here, and I've got her legs super bent, like pointed. So let's draw the front so you see where we are. There is a knee pad here that we'll go ahead and define as well too. And I'm going to give her like a boot, just a little bit of a bump. And there's the front of the toe like that. So you see how bent back her foot is? Very flying detailed, you know. Okay, so, and look, I didn't give her heels. I talked about this in the sketch, that they stop doing heels on women, on superhero women, because they got stuff to do. They don't have time for your high-heeled adventures. Okay, so there we go. And so again, there is some tech on these suits, which are basically a bunch of lines. You know, they look cool, but we're not going to draw every single one of them. I talked about this in the other one, that there's one here, but I'm going to draw it here first to see where it is, and then I'll come back. We talked about this during Captain Marvel. She had a whole bunch of them too, and man, it was cool, and I wanted to draw a whole bunch, but I was like, no, we don't have time. That's not what we're doing. So, okay, so now we're just drawing anatomy over here too. And so, let's see, so there's her crotch. So there's her thigh, like this. There's the knee pad. I'm going to draw that in. That'll kind of give us a place to go. So I'm going to draw the back of her leg to that knee pad, like this. And again, I'm going to give it a little bit of a bump for a shoe, just a tiny little bit. Like that. Just a subtle hint of a shoe. Alright, I get this foot pointed like this. You can only see the top of it, so that's why it's kind of pointed like that. Let me add some detail here, and then we'll get going with more of the foot detail. Round this off a little bit, that's a little too pointy, like that. Okay, so then she doesn't really have this boot, but I liked it, and I just thought it'd be cool to do something like that. Because thinking of this like a motorcycle suit, it felt more to me like it needed something like that, you know? Okay, so let me just draw like some detail, like some creases and folds is what I'm trying to say, because it's cloth, you know? Oops, kind of cut through my line there. Let me define that more. All right, so let me add some of this detail here. So she has this really cool side here. I'm going to thicken this up a little bit, and then I can play around with some of these lines. Now, I should do this with color, but I'm going to do this with the Sharpie just to define a little bit, you know? And I probably shouldn't even be doing this, because I should be doing it with color, but I just thought it was cool. So it helps with the, like I said, the tech look of it, you know? So that means now there's one over here. That means it's coming down, going back, but I guess it kind of goes back on the other side of the leg, huh? So you can't really see it. We'll do this to go to the front. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so I want to do more, but I'm going to stop because, like I said, that should be with color. There's some cool lines there. I should do that with color. So let's finish up the wings. And I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to define the top edge, and then watch this, watch this. So we're going to define the edge like this. Of each one, and then we're going to come back with a smaller Sharpie and draw like the insides, but with the thinner Sharpie, it's going to stand out that it's a whisper, like we're talking about, a yell and a whisper, you know? There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to come back with this Sharpie and define the outer edge. See how it's lighter? And it's more like a wing. Subtle. That's what I was going for. Like that. Now add some veins. But like I said, I just wanted to give it that subtle, cool little, you know, what do you call it? Vein looking thing, you know? There we go. Like wings. Like that. Pretty cool, right? And remember, you don't have to draw exactly like I'm drawing. This is how I draw. You draw how you draw. We'll meet somewhere in between. I'm just giving you some ideas. Alright, it's the same thing. Let's just do just some subtle lines. And there we go. So, I say we take care of the rest with color. So that is the wasp. So here is my colored version. You could do it however you like. I just thought I'd show you how I decided to color it. If you'd like to color it like this, you can always pause the video here and use the coloring techniques that I used, or you can just make it your own. Remember, this is how I draw. You draw how you draw. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more adventures of how I draw. Plus, don't forget to hit that notification button to be updated about each new video.